Well, welcome to U-Turn, everyone, and the talk show that features some of the greatest conversion stories of our time. Stories of men and women who are on the highway to hell when they encountered a Damascus Road event that completely turned their lives around. Hello, everyone. I'm Steve Savant, and today I'm broadcasting live at the Life Change Center in Sun City, Arizona, a Christ-centered recovery facility for alcohol abuse, drug, and sexual addictions. For more information on their rehab services, their weekly meetings, and special events, just go out to their website at gwparizona.org. That's gwparizona.org. And hey, if you want to write me, the show's email address is steve@180uturn.com. That's steve@180youturn. Well, today we're continuing our story with Nancy Bricci. This is day 2. If you missed her first episode, you need to go back out to the web to watch it in succession. We think you'll have a better job understanding the story in its chronology, and that's why we like to say, always exhort you, listen to these stories in order. Now, Nancy, we got you through your high school days, and if you didn't hear her story, I don't understand clinical depression for a child at this age, and it just is so sorrowful and grievous to my spirit that somebody has such struggles at a childhood at a level that I just can't believe exists in America. It's always astonishing to me. But now this is one thing that I find really fascinating, because God seems to always have somebody in your life that comes through, and you had, during your sophomore year, you had a gal that was a Christian, and you saw something in her life.
Yeah.
So let's talk about a little bit about, well, how did you meet this gal in high school, and what attracted you to her?
Yeah, so in my sophomore year, I decided to join the high school choir. I love to sing, and so when I entered in, the teacher asked us to sing so he can hear our voices and to see where we're at. And he realized that I had a quiet voice and that needed to be bigger. So he had me sit next to a young girl who was a freshman because she had a bigger bubble, that's what he said. And said that we must always sit together every time we have class. And from there birthed a friendship that never separated in my next several years.
How much would you say this singing, it's wonderful to have a talent and a gift, but how much of this was an outlet of escape too?
Yeah, it was definitely.
And so, I can't imagine you not looking forward to choir all the time just to get out of whatever cycle of depression.
That was actually the only class that I received honors my senior year, because anything with music I could understand and just move forward very well. And so that was, definitely an outlet for me.
Now, she was pretty friendly to you. You saw something in her. How did you know she was a Christian? Did she tell you that, or?
Yeah, she eventually told me.
Okay. And when she told you that, did you see any difference? Because, you're brought up Catholic.
Yeah.
Is that any different than your Christianity? Did you even know that?
No, I believed I was already a Christian. I didn't see it.
No distinction.
I didn't think there was a difference until later on.
Okay, and she invited you to go to her church?
Yeah.
Several times?
Yeah, several times. Yeah, eventually she got the courage to ask me, and of course I always denied.
By the way, isn't it interesting, because this is a friend of yours?
Yeah.
It takes courage to invite people to church, doesn't it?
Especially if you are in a public school setting, for sure.
I totally get that. In corporate America, my last 38 years in corporate America, after I retired last year, I'd always try to talk to people about the Lord. And people would say, what's it harder? I said, well, corporate America is way harder because nobody thinks they're a sinner.
Yeah.
Going into prison is walk in the park, basically. Okay, so one day, you wanted to go, you changed it to a radio station and you were hearing music.
Yeah, so like I said, me and her were super close. And when I was able to start driving, sometimes I would bring her home after school. And one day she was in my car, and I believe this was senior year, and she was like, Nancy, can I change the radio station? And I was like, sure, why not?
What, are you listening to goth and metal in your car?
Just the regular radio stations out there. And so she changed it to the Christian channel. And when she got out of the car and I dropped her off, I decided to keep it on, and I just kept listening. And that's when I heard that God was a God of peace and God was a God of love. But peace is what attracted me more, and made me start thinking.
And if God is a God of love and God's a God of peace, who's offering this? Her Christian God? Was that basically what she was saying?
Yeah, basically.
Because a lot of people purport to do that. There's many other religions that give you the same, hey, God of love, God of peace.
Yeah.
And then you started asking God to reveal himself to you.
Yeah, after that.
And you were conscious about this.
Yes, after that, because peace is what I was longing for. Of course, love, but I was more longing for peace in my life because I had none within me. And so when I heard that, I was like, okay, God, if you are truly a God of peace, then reveal yourself to me. Let me know who you are. Because by then, with hearing her and seeing her, by my senior year, I started to realize that there was actually a difference between what I was raised and what she was raised in regards of the Christian faith. So that's when I started to realize that, hey, when I was going to confirmation classes, getting my confirmation, but the teacher lives the same life as I. He drinks, he does all this stuff, just like I and all the students. I mean, like, they were high in the class of like during the confirmation class, and I was like, there is no difference. The priest drinks as well, so there is no difference. So how could this God be real if they are doing the same things?
But she was different.
But she was different. She would not partake in anything.
In the midst, and this is why it's such a strange journey you're on here, because right in the middle of your seeking God, you're asking him to reveal himself. You can see the distinction in your friend. This is truly something different than what I know.
Yeah.
You meet another friend who's a Muslim gal who also starts to offer you her side of the equation.
Yeah. She starts talking to me about Allah. She also was not pleased with drinking, with smoking, and I also saw a difference within their life, and they were content to not have to do those things and still be at peace and still be happy. And so again, that made me question, okay, why would God care about what I do in my life? Because they were bringing those things at me. Why does he care? So that also was stirring up inside of me, that question.
But now this is also stirring a question. You're now interested in not just Christianity, but now Islam, but now maybe some others.
Yeah.
I mean, you go on a tour of world religions, basically.
So basically, So because I said that, I asked that question and feeling all those things inside and telling him to reveal himself to me, I started to actually go, of course, to the human standards. We'll search around and study things and find him. So I decided, I was like, I'm going to study all the religions of the world. And I told my boss that, and he laughed at me. He goes, there's too many. I was like, no, there's not. And I remember Googling, and I'm like, there's like millions.
Right.
So I decided to narrow it down to the major religions, and that was Hinduism, Buddhism, Judaism, Islam, and then obviously Christianity, but I X'd that out because I said I know enough. I thought I knew enough.
And by the way, isn't that the tragedy that we all have come to this place, and myself included, before I came to the Lord, that whatever I know, I already got Christianity down. And of course, that is so far from the truth.
Yeah.
And the other issue about this is, of course, and you said there are the major religions you just named, and then there's thousands of small, petty little religions, and then you have even in Christianity, there's about 240 major Protestant denominations, not to mention sectarian and smaller groups. It's something, how can you possibly sort it all out, right?
Yeah.
So, you didn't study that, but among your research, you were still drawn most to Islam.
Yeah, Islam was what I found it much more beautiful than all the other ones, and it's to be a religion of peace. And so that was the number one reason why I was drawn the most. I'm like, okay, if it's the religion of peace, then I should find God, because I'm looking for the God of peace. And so I just like, okay, that matches. I'll do it.
Okay, but you know that in America, the PR on Islam is it's hardly a religion of peace.
Yeah, if you go into the depths and read to the depths of the depths, you realize that it's not.
It's not that.
Not that.
Right. Okay. So for you, you start to go through, and you're kind of, you got your index out. You're going through all your major religions, and in your looking through all these things, did anything stand out to you to say, wow, that one, besides Islam, was there anything else that you thought, hey, that was a pretty big thing. I need to follow that up. Or no, that was kind of.
No, it was just Islam.
I mean, Islam, Buddhism didn't strike you. Hinduism.
No, I didn't go. Nope, nothing, because, it was just Islam. I was drawn. I found it beautiful, the way that the women took care of themselves, everything, the order. I found it beautiful. I was just drawn to that.
Now, you found it too beautiful enough that you're thinking about converting to Islam, right?
I started to partake in a lot of their events. I had my own prayer rug. I went to the mosque often. attended to all their weddings. I became well known to them, and I grew really close. Participated in Ramadan, not all the way, but I went to their prayers when they would break their Ramadan fast, and partook in a lot of things with them.
Now, did they actually try to evangelize you?
No.
Or were there just no pressure, and
No
they
pressure.
received you, and you were
they're so welcoming. They're so hospitable, so kind. But they never try to throw it at me or anything like that. No, but they were welcomed to all my questions and willing to answer things that I had asked.
Okay, now, and also certain prayer, you started reading prayers to Allah, right?
Yeah.
And some of those prayers had to be in Arabic, right? There's no English way to pray this, or any language, I should say.
Yeah, according to I guess you can say rules, is everything should be in Arabic to the form of which it was originally created. Should be, yes.
So you're going to have to learn to pick up, even if you don't pick up the language, you got to at least pick up the prayer
Prayers,
language, right? Okay. All right. Well, to me, this is a whole nother journey down when a heart is so thirsty and you're so, anxiety filled and driven by these things, and you're ready to graduate high school now, and you're ready to move on with your life, right? And you'd like to settle the religious issue right up front.
Yeah.
To me, that's something. Well, listen, we're going to come back tomorrow on day 3 of Nancy's story. It's a huge third day. We're going to go through some more things about some of these things that she's been through and part of her testimony. And when we do that, we're going to be able to explain to you kind of where she went in her search and how she found at the very tail end of this, how Jesus came involved in this whole thing. So for more information on the Life Change Center, which we're at today and broadcasting from, for all their rehab services and their weekly meetings and their special events, just go out to their website at gwparizona.org. That's gwparizona.org. And remember, until next time, I'm Steve Savant, and no one's outside the reach of God. No, not one.